biggest newspaper in the country is USA Today, and today that newspaper ran an op-ed that named as its author Donald J. Trump, President of the United States. It was all about health care, and it was fact-checked by the Washington Post, which found that almost every sentence contained a misleading statement or a falsehood. In fact, you don't have to be the Washington Post to know that. You could just read it. It's plainly not true. Now, that has got to be a first, the nation's largest newspaper. It is certainly nothing new for the president of the Republican Party, which has realized that health care is actually the #1 issue for voters this year. And so they have embarked on a coordinated midterm strategy to ridiculously and flagrantly lie about health care in ads and speeches. Joining me now, HuffPost senior national correspondent Jonathan Cohn, who's been tracking GOP healthcare rhetoric and who wrote today about Trump's rambling, dishonest op-ed. I guess we'll start with the Trump op-ed. Two big, obvious, flagrant lies. We said we're going to protect pre-existing conditions and we're going to bring down premiums. We're doing both. But those aren't true.
No, I mean, look, we all remember 2017, right? President Trump got elected. The first priority of his administration was to repeal the Affordable Care Act. And that's what he spent most of the year trying to do. And the legislation that he was pushing would have gutted protections for people with pre-existing conditions. And he kept pushing it and he kept pushing it. And eventually, you know, the bill failed. Barely. One vote in the Senate different and it would have become law. But since that's happened, he's basically done whatever he could to undermine those same protections using his own authority. I mean, right now, there is a case in federal court in Texas where the federal government is asking a judge to throw out the protections for pre-existing conditions. That is, his name is on his Justice Department is supporting that lawsuit, and yet he's walking around saying, "Whoa, we'd always protect, protections for pre-existing."
They're literally suing in federal court to blow the whole thing up, and not just them, state attorneys general, including State Attorney General of Missouri, a guy by the name of Josh Hawley, who also happens to be running for Senate. With this ad, he is literally his name. He's named on that suit to blow up the ACA and destroy protections for pre-existing conditions. And this is the ad he's running in his Senate race right now. Take a look.
Earlier this year, we learned our oldest has a rare chronic disease, a pre-existing condition. We know what that's like. I'm Josh Hawley. I support forcing insurance companies to cover all pre-existing conditions.
So then take yourself off the lawsuit. Stop suing.
It's preposterous. I mean, this is as straight up a lie as you will see in politics. He's on that lawsuit. He has supported repeal. It is simply not true to say that he thinks it's important that he would fight to protect people with pre-existing conditions. But he's saying it because, you know, he knows that's what the voters want to hear.
The other big lie that I keep seeing, and I've seen it in ad after ad, I spend a lot of time on YouTube, like looking at, you know, targeted races and looking at the ads there, is Republicans running with the idea that whichever Democrat they're running against is support single-payer Medicare for all, even when they haven't. Even when they have explicitly said they haven't, they have chosen to basically say every Democrat everywhere is single-payer Medicare for all, and that will steal your Medicare, Grandma.
Right. I mean, and this was what Trump was writing today in the op-ed. Everybody wants to, you know, endorse Medicare for all and all, you know, and that's what every single Democrat wants. Now, there are some Democrats who want that. Bernie Sanders has proposed that. A number of Democratic senators, including some who will run for president, have supported it. But, you know, one of the things that you learn about Medicare for all is that when you explain it to people, it's actually pretty popular.
Exactly.
People like the idea of, you know, saying, gee, you mean I wouldn't have to worry about co-payments and deductibles? You mean I wouldn't have to worry about doctor networks? You mean it might be less expensive? I mean, it sounds very appealing. Look, it's a complicated idea. It's got pluses and minuses. There's lots of reasons you might like it or not like it. But it's not at all clear to me that when you say the Democrats are going to give you Medicare for all, that people are going to run away screaming. I think a lot of people would say, hey, that sounds pretty good. I mean, we've seen polls on this. It actually polls, you know, polls pretty well among Republicans, too.
Yeah, and we should note that over half of Democratic ads have been featuring health care because I think they sense they have a winning hand to play on this. Jonathan Cohn, thanks for being with me tonight.
Thanks for having me.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.